All right, here we go again. Again, we got to be getting close. We've got some rock cuts to go through, and then we're done. So there's another telegraph pole there. That one just has clear Dominion 42s on there. Okay, so we got another rock cut here. Again, I pre-recorded all the rock cuts, but turns out it was unnecessary because it's still cloudy. I'm always cautious because when the sun comes out, these rock cuts are just get completely ruined when there's contrasting light. So again, you can see it's not particularly big, not particularly high. Maybe 6 feet here, okay, in the middle. Again, you can see all the jack pines growing on and in and through the rock work. What rock cut is this? This is 2. We got to go to 6, so we got a bunch more rock cuts coming up. Literally like a whole bunch in a row. Turned out to be a pretty good day. So another little rock cut here. Again, not particularly long, not particularly high. Again, maybe 5 or 6 feet. Again, you could see that really irregular nature of the rock work. Again, primitive technology, primitive techniques, and so you didn't get nice symmetrical rock cuts, right? You basically however the explosives went off and however they fractured the rock is what you got. So it continues on here a little bit. And then it comes to an end, and then I'm sure we'll pick up another rock cut shortly. Again, you can see really the nature of the geography here. This is a lot of Canadian Shield, right? So you can see what's happened when they log. You can see the exposed rock, very little soil, right? All scraped away by the glaciers. Very thin, very poor soils. And then you get these deposits of gravel and till all over the place that were left behind by the glaciers. How can you tell I teach geography? Actually, I've taught geography sporadically. I've taught it maybe 4 times in the last 6 years, something like that, 7 years. So another rock cut through here. Again, not particularly high, maybe 6 feet or 7 feet. Probably the biggest part right here. Again, you can see the very irregular nature of the work. Okay, so that was 4. So you got 2 more rock cuts to go to, I think. So another telegraph pole. Tree coming down. Again, you see these pockets where it looks like there was a little microburst or something, a little derecho that touch down, because you see all the trees that are all kind of uprooted. And again, because of the soil around here, they don't anchor very well. The roots tend to move laterally instead of vertically. Piece of a telegraph pole here, and another rock cut or cutting. Yeah, a little bit of rock work here, maybe 10 feet. Again, you can see the trees just growing up right through all the cracks and crevices in the rock work. Nature is quite remarkable, and again, you can see the very irregular nature of the sides of the cut. Again, lots of jack pines through this area. I always mention this all the time, but one of the things that I would have loved to have been able to do was, with these old rail lines, is to be able to see them like right when they were first constructed, like very early on, right? And so essentially you're pushing through very virgin territory, right? Like, you know, in some cases, you know, the indigenous people that inhabited this area hadn't even been through all, you know, they hadn't been through every inch of the area, right? And so you're going through some pretty untouched areas, and so it would have been really neat to see some of these places. Another telegraph pole, another swampy area. Again, just beautiful with all the golden tamaracks. No moosies. I'm sure they probably know. They're not dumb. So going through another cut here. And yet another blowdown area. See a bunch of trees knocked down. Some more telegraph poles. Okay, let's zip you ahead a bit here. All right, so we got an interesting spot here. So what we have is a culvert that runs underneath the grade, but I don't know if I can get in a spot to show you. Slipping gears here. You can't really see it very well on the map, but essentially this creek runs straight and it runs into, is that the English River? That's either the it's either the Petry or the English River, right? And it's dead straight. So this was done on purpose. There's mechanical ditching that was done to pull the water away from the grade. So maybe what I'll do is I'll show you the LiDAR, and you can see it running like straight off the grade into the river, or I'll show you the topographic map, one of the two. All right, let's finish her up here. Looney, I took Looney out of the trailer. You see another telegraph pole here. I think we have 2 more rock cuts and then we're out, because I parked on the other side of the last rock cut. GPS says 27.96 kilometers. Oy. What did you see? Squirrel? Another telegraph pole. You sound kind of monotonous. Telegraph pole. Another telegraph pole. It's kind of funny what, you know, my hikes on the Kinghorn line. First of all, it was, you know, there's probably maybe 20 telegraph poles still standing on the whole line, all 195 miles of it. And you'd find some on the ground, but again, very rare to see them standing. And here you just got them all over the place, right? Again, just coming and going in pockets. So again, so obviously this area was cut over and looks like it was reseeded. So I think, what's this one? Oh, this is the last rock cut, pretty sure. You can see the nice puddle here. Again, this would have been dry. And there's a telegraph pole up there on the top of the cut. So I'm pretty sure this one here, when it came here in July, don't drink that. That tree was down and you'd drive under it, and I remember it like, you know, you drive under it and you're like, okay, and all of a sudden you hear this screech as one of the branches scratches the top of the truck, and I was like, great. Or rubs anyway. So here you can see the rock cut, maybe, I don't know, 7-8 feet. And continues on here. Don't drink that, dog. Again, you can see the damage that happens in the rock cuts with all of these puddles being pushed in, these depressions. So again, the rock work continues here. So this is a fairly lengthy cut here. Again, not, well, over here it's high, I guess. I was about to say not particularly high, but this is probably the high point right here. So maybe, I don't know, 12 feet or so, something like that. Again, you can see that very irregular nature of the cut, again, all due to the primitive technology and techniques that they were using at the time to blast the rock cuts, so you don't get the nice symmetrical sides of the cut like you do today. So I believe we are done. Yippers. All right, there is the vehicle. So this brings us to the end of, or there's a telegraph pole over here. This brings us to the end of our exploration for today. My vehicle got very dirty because it was wet. You drive through the gravel and stuff. Ew. Looks dirty. All right, so again, hopefully you've enjoyed today's exploration and all of the things that we've seen. Kind of a little bit more of a quieter section, just the one station, the one bridge crossing, but certainly neat with the milepost marker and quite a number of rock cuts and the beautiful scenery with all the tamaracks. So we're going to be back hopefully soon, hopefully within the week, to finish this last section, which is going to take us from here all the way past Quorn to the washout on Selwyn Lake, and we've done the next two sections after that, so that'll take us all the way up to pretty much Eva Lake. So fingers crossed we'll be able to get that hike done soon. So in the meantime, take care.